Chapter 1. The Unwanted Bond. The great halls of Zorinthia Prime shimmered with celestial light. Floating crystals pulsed above the silver floors, humming softly with the energy of 1,000 captured stars. Every species in the empire had gathered: reptilian nobles, beings of mist, and the golden-eyed royals of the Aurelian line. Yet all eyes were on one thing: the wedding. A human was marrying the daughter of the alien queen. Princess Lysera Aurelian, radiant in her flowing gown of molten light, stood beside a man who looked painfully mortal in comparison. His name was Captain Cale Draven, a human from Earth, once a soldier in the wars between humans and the Aurelians. His armor had been replaced by a ceremonial tunic, his rough hands hidden in gloves. The court whispered behind jeweled masks. A human. How low the queen has sunk. He reeks of iron and sweat. Does he even understand Aurelian vows? Lysera's silver lips curved in disdain. She didn't look at Cale as the vows were spoken in the language of light. She repeated them because she must, not because she meant them. Her mother, Queen Salith, had forced the union, a peace offering after the last war. The queen, wise beyond centuries, believed in unity. Lysera, young and proud, believed in bloodlines. When the ceremony ended, Lysera turned to Cale with a mocking smile. "You may kiss your bride, human, if you can reach her." Her attendants laughed, their voices like crystal chimes. Cale only bowed his head slightly. "Your Majesty," he said quietly, "a warrior never forces honor upon someone unwilling to share it." And with that, he turned away, leaving her laughter echoing in the vast, cold hall. Chapter 2. The Princess and the Outsider. Their palace on Moon Verith was vast, carved into the glowing cliffs of obsidian and veined with living gold. From her balcony, Lysera often watched Cale train alone on the lower terraces. He had requested no guards, no servants, only a sword, a relic he had brought from Earth. It looked primitive, forged of steel, nothing compared to Aurelian plasma blades. Sometimes she watched him swing it through the air, moving like a predator, precise, silent, focused. "He trains for battles that no longer exist," she told her handmaidens. "Perhaps he fears your wrath, my lady," one of them teased. Lysera smirked. "Or perhaps he dreams of killing me." She didn't hate him. She pitied him. Humans were fragile creatures, bound by mortality and crude instinct. Her kind could live for centuries, their bodies woven with light itself. Yet, something about the way he carried himself unsettled her. He was never broken by insult, never raised his voice. He treated her like a stranger he respected, not a goddess to worship. And somehow, that infuriated her more than his presence. Chapter 3. The Challenge. One evening, Lysera hosted a banquet for the highborns. The galaxy's elite gathered. Laughter and arrogance mingled like wine. Cale was seated at her side, silent, drinking only water. To amuse her guests, Lysera leaned toward him. "Tell us, husband," she said sweetly. "How does it feel to sit among real beings of power?" He looked at her calmly. "Power wears many faces, princess." "Oh, and what face does yours wear?" "Mud and blood," she taunted. The nobles roared with laughter. Even Lysera's mother, watching from afar, looked away in disapproval. Cale didn't rise to anger. He simply stood, bowing deeply. "Forgive me, my lady. I see my presence soils your joy." He turned to leave, but a sneering Aurelian general, massive and violet-skinned, stepped in his path. "Sit down, human. You insult our princess by walking away." Cale's voice was soft but steady. "I only wish to preserve her honor by not lowering myself to your level." The general growled and drew his energy spear, the air crackling. "Then defend yourself, worm." Lysera's smile widened. "Careful, Cale. Our weapons may be too advanced for you." The hall erupted in mocking laughter. Cale exhaled slowly, and for the first time drew his sword. The room fell silent. Chapter 4. the blade of stars. The sword shimmered, not of metal, but of starlight condensed into a blade. Its edge burned blue and white, humming with the faint rhythm of a heartbeat. Even the Aurelian energy spears dimmed beside it. Lysira's laughter caught in her throat. What is that? Cale stepped forward, eyes glowing faintly. A relic older than your empire, forged from the core of a dying star. It is called the Blade of Solis. The general lunged. In one motion too fast for the eye, Cale moved. The spear shattered. The general fell, unharmed but humiliated. His weapon's shaft clattering across the floor. Cale stopped inches away, the tip of his glowing blade at the alien's throat. I do not fight for pride, Cale said quietly. Only for peace. And respect. He turned and sheathed the sword. The blade dissolved into light, vanishing into his palm. No one dared to speak. The laughter had died. Even Lysira couldn't find her voice. She stared at him, this man she'd mocked as primitive, yet who wielded something beyond even her people's understanding. For the first time she wondered who he truly was. Chapter 5. The Night of Storms. That night, thunder tore across the void. Moon Veritha's energy fields flickered. A rare event. Lysira stood in her chamber, staring out into the tempest. She couldn't forget the look in Cale's eyes. Not fury but sadness. Why had he endured her cruelty without hate? Why had he not fought back until pushed to the edge? When the storm reached its peak, a blast rocked the palace. The walls trembled. Sirens blared. Cale burst through her door. Get away from the windows. What? Before she could finish, a plasma shell exploded outside. The glass shattered, hurling her backward. Cale threw himself over her, shielding her body as debris rained down. When the smoke cleared, alien invaders were landing. The Skarathi, scavengers from the outer rim. They had come for the queen's bloodline. Cale rose, pulling her to her feet. Stay behind me. She stared at him dazed. You can't fight them all. He gave a small, grim smile. Then I'll die trying. Chapter 6. The Battle for the Moon. The halls of Verith burned. Screams echoed as soldiers clashed with the Skarathi raiders. Cale led Lysira through the chaos, cutting down enemies with his starblade. Each swing was a flash of light, each motion precise and powerful. The Skarathi's plasma rounds glanced off his glowing aura. Lysira, for the first time, saw the warrior her mother must have seen, a man not born of weakness but will. When they reached the main corridor, a massive Skarathi warlord blocked their path. Give me the Aurelian princess, it hissed. And you may live, human. Cale's answer was a wordless strike. The warlord met his blade, sparks screaming through the air. The ground cracked under their feet. Lysira could barely breathe. The clash was like gods at war. Then, with one final surge, Cale drove his sword through the creature's armor. The warlord fell, light bursting from the wound. Cale dropped to one knee panting. His aura flickered. The blade dimmed. Cale! Lysira cried, rushing to him. I'm fine, he said weakly. But we must reach the evacuation chamber. They barely made it before the ceiling collapsed behind them. Chapter 7. The Awakening. Hours later, after the invaders were driven off by reinforcements, Lysira sat beside Cale's bed. His body was bruised, burned, and motionless. She had never felt fear like this, not even during the war. Her mother entered quietly. You've seen the truth now, child. Lysira turned, eyes red. Who is he, mother? What is that blade? Queen Salith smiled sadly. He is the last bearer of Solis, an ancient order that once guarded the balance between mortal and divine. When the Aurelians waged war against humans, He chose peace instead of vengeance. That is why I chose him for you. Lysira's breath trembled. I mocked him. I humiliated him. And still he saved me. Salith nodded. That, my daughter, is what makes him greater than any of us. Chapter 8. The Blade and the Heart. When Kale finally awoke, Lysira was there. She looked different. No longer a goddess wrapped in pride, but a woman who had learned humility. He blinked weakly. Princess. She took his hand. No. Lysira. Just Lysira. He smiled faintly. You're unharmed. Because of you. Her voice broke. Kale, I was blind. I saw you as less because I feared what you represented. A mirror of my own arrogance. He looked at her gently. And what do you see now? Her eyes shimmered. A man who carries the light of 1,000 stars. My husband. Chapter 9. The Dawn of Unity. Months passed. The scars of war faded. The people of Zerinthia whispered a new story. Of the human who defended the Aurelian princess, who wielded the blade of stars to save their moon. Lysira stood beside him during every council, every peace negotiation. Together, they built bridges between races once sworn to destroy each other. When Kale walked through the grand hall now, no one laughed. They bowed. And Lysira, she never mocked him again. Instead, she wore the pendant he gave her, a tiny fragment of the star that powered his blade. I once laughed at you, she told him one evening beneath the twin moons. He smiled. And now? She leaned in, her voice a whisper. Now I laugh only because you make me happy. Epilogue. The Legacy of Light. Centuries later, the archives of the Aurelian Empire would tell the tale of Lysira and Kale Draven, the union that ended the Age of Blood. And somewhere beyond time, among the constellations, the blade of Solis still burned, a reminder that even the smallest light, born from a human heart, could outshine the arrogance of empires. Because in the end, the stars remember not who ruled, but who loved. Sparkles the end sparkles.